Good evening. Welcome back to the Pastor Study with Pastor Dan Wessel. Tonight we're going to join Jesus and his disciples in the upper room. We're going to use John's narrative because it opens up some things that none of the other gospel narratives do. Each one of the gospel writers, each one of the authors, the biographers, uh, wrote from their own perspective. All are true. Mostly they mesh together. Sometimes they share one, such as John tonight, will share some things that the others do not. But all in all, they give us a fairly complete picture of the life, and especially the last week or two of Jesus' life as he heads for the cross. In the upper room, he has just dismissed Judas Iscariot to be about his nefarious business. Begins to talk to the disciples about his upcoming death. Tells Peter that Peter will deny him. And Peter says, "Of course I won't deny you. I will die for you." Of course, we know how long that promise lasts. And then Jesus begins to talk about the next couple steps. He said, "I'm going to prepare a place for you in my Father's house. In his home are many rooms that I'm going to prepare, so you'll have a place, so that when I go, you can follow later." Well, as usual, the disciples don't have a clue. And Thomas, doubting Thomas, says, "Well, where is it you're going? We just don't quite understand." Remember, Thomas is the one in several days that won't even acknowledge that maybe Jesus has risen from the dead, even though the other 10 disciples said they've seen him. Thomas says, "Unless I touch his hands, touch his feet, put my hand in his side, I won't believe it." He's struggling now. And then Jesus says to Thomas, and Thomas says, "I don't know the way there." Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, Thomas, then you know the Father as well." In fact, he says from now on, you do know him and you have seen him. Philip just can't contain himself. He just doesn't get it. He says, "Jesus, show us the Father. That will be enough." Now, he's just told Thomas, in essence, "If you've seen me, you've seen the Father." And now Philip comes back and relitigates, if you will, the same question. "Don't you know me, Philip?" Jesus says. "Even after I've been with you for such a long time, don't you understand that if you've seen me, you've seen the Father? So how can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Don't you believe that I'm in the Father and the Father's in me? And if you don't believe that, at least believe in the evidence of the miracles that you've seen." You know, I don't know that we can blame these men so much. I mean, we look at them and we say, "But you traveled with Jesus for 3 years and saw the miracles, and he raised people from the dead, and he gave people their sight back and their hearing back and their voice back and raised the lame. And how could you not believe?" I guess we'd have to walk in their shoes to understand it. But let me throw a thought out to you that maybe, just maybe, we need to consider tonight before we dump on Thomas and especially Philip too much. I'm afraid that our churches are filled with people who do not know where their faith is founded. Oh, they're great churchmen. They're great church members. They tithe. They might help the Sunday school. If we're doing a church cleanup day, they'll be there. And yet, if you were questioning them about the foundation of their faith, they would talk about having grown up in the church and they're members of the church and they attend most of the time. And Jesus would say, look at them and say, "But I am the way to the Father." Not church membership, not church attendance, not tithing. What is the foundation of your faith? Is it because you grew up in the church? Is it because you are a lifelong member of the church? The pastor knows your name and has your phone number on speed dial, perhaps? Or is it the faith that you have in Jesus Christ? What is that based on? Is it based upon something you read? Is it based on something you heard an evangelist say and you responded in a moment of somewhat semi-emotionalism. That was where I got saved. I can tell you today, I do not remember getting from the very far end of the gymnasium, from one end to the other, and from the top row of a double set of bleachers to the bottom. It's as if the Holy Spirit picked me up and moved me. And the next thing I knew, I was standing and kneeling at a platform on the floor of our basketball gym at school as a sophomore in high school, with tears pouring down my face. I didn't know what my faith was that day, but in the ensuing years, and there's been a lot of them, I've grown and I've come to understand the underpinnings of our faith. Yes, part of it is, in my case, based upon what I've seen Jesus do in my life and the life of my wife and others. I've seen miracles. I've seen people brought back from the dead. I've been healed myself. I've received divine protection at least once that I know of. And I've seen God never fail. The worship leader Don Moen wrote a song in the midst of great personal tragedy that goes something like this, and I'm not going to try to sing it, but the lyrics go like this. God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. God will make a way for me. Would that describe your faith? That you know that you know that you know that God has you in the palm of his hand and won't let you go. Someone once said that a man with a theology is at the mercy of a man with a testimony. A testimony says we've experienced God in a intimate, personal way that impacted our lives. Despite their 3 years with Jesus, neither Thomas or Philip had apparently experienced that, at least not yet. They're about to, just within the next couple of days. So I want to leave you with this question. Are you certain of the foundation of your faith? Do you know what it rests upon? Are you certain beyond a shadow of a doubt that should the rapture happen tonight and you find yourself standing before the Lord, that your faith is firm and secure and your relationship with Jesus is solid? If your answer to any of that is don't know, I'm not sure, or maybe no, then may I suggest you go back and reevaluate that. As we've just seen in the last several days, there have been a number of untimely deaths in our country. Charlie Kirk being one of the most recent. Just this morning, several were killed in an ICE facility in Texas with in a targeted attack. Life is very uncertain. We don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what tonight holds, for that matter. I remember living in Texas, and being waken up in the dead of the night by the tornado sirens going off in town. I will tell you that is guaranteed to get your adrenaline running, because you know that you're in the midst of great danger. We never know what the next moment holds. But here's what we can know: that Jesus holds our life in the palm of his hand. At the moment of our very last breath, we'll step into his presence and hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." I'm hoping that your faith foundation is such that that will happen for you. If you're not sure, I urge you to go back and make certain of your faith and the foundation it rests on. And I'll leave you with that thought, and I'll see you next week back in the Pastor Study.